Welcome back. Up next, we have Michael Fowler. He's going to give us a talk on communicate better by knowing yourself a little bit more. I'm looking forward to this. Take it away, Mike.
Cheers, Scott. Thanks for having me. So first of all, before I start, I want to just say thanks to all the beer farmers, all the sponsors, the mentors, the coaches for helping set this up. And in particular, thanks to three people, Donna, Graham, and Ewan, who kind of helped me with my slides and gave me feedback on what you're going to see here today. So hopefully it'll be good. A little bit about myself. Mike Fowler is who I am. I'm currently security operations lead at a company called Insights Learning and Development. Joined there in May of this year, so always good to change jobs mid-pandemic. And I've been working as a blue team security operations, security engineer since about 2003, starting in the Royal Navy. Although I've worked in InfoSec for such a long time, I've never actually given a talk. So this is a first for me, and sort of appreciate the opportunity. So I'm going to talk about communication today. It's my feeling that communication is probably the critical soft skill that anyone should have. You could be the world's best hacker. You can hack a microwave with a calculator, but if you can't communicate how you did it, what the risk is, what the options are to protect yourself against it, then all the technical skill in the world isn't really going to kind of do you. And it's a hill I'm prepared to die on, and I know I'm not going to be alone, because we've got directors from Deloitte saying similar things, beer farmers saying similar things, basically all around the world, even vice president of Microsoft's 365 modern working, right the way through, all saying the same things, that communication and general soft skills are at least as important as technical, if not kind of more. So as I said before, I joined Insights back in May this year. And as with any new staff member, when you join any company, they do sort of an onboarding process. And it was going through their onboarding process, sort of a workshop over a few days, that they covered an element of communication. Now, as I said before, communication's always been important. I've seen other talks about communication, but they've tended to focus a little bit more on the what to say. So talking non-technical language, talking business risk, financial risk. But going through this, the Insights onboarding process, it kind of had a light bulb moment for me, because the Insights process talks a bit more about how to communicate with other people, which I found was kind of missing in a lot of the other communication talks that I've heard previously. So what I want to do is just take those high-level sort of insights and share them with you to hopefully help you communicate better going forwards. So to do that, you need to understand a little bit about Insights has a view of these four color energies, being cool blue, fiery red, earth green, and sunshine yellow. Cool blue energies is typically sort of analytical. The cool blue asks a lot of questions. They like to understand the detail, like to understand the bigger picture, and they're very, very logical. They like to do things A, B, C, D, E, F in order. Fiery red, on the other hand, they're kind of very driven and motivated. If you give them a task to do, give fiery red energy a task to do, they'll go and get it done. They don't really care too much about the detail. They just want to know, what do I need to do? When do I need to do it by? And they'll go off and do it. Earth green energy is a little bit more concerned about the people side of things. So how does it affect the team? How does it affect the staff? They're very supportive and encouraging, and general, I say they're very much a team player is earth green energy. And then lastly, sunshine yellow, these are the bubbly, enthusiastic sort of types. They're also very, very good for creative thinker. They can come up thinking of lots of different ideas, lots of different opportunities. They're very sort of dynamic. They can flip from one thing to another, and generally they typically sort of inspire other people around you. And that's sort of a high level what sunshine yellow energy is all about. Now, one thing to sort of call out is that the idea, the Insights say, is that you're a mix of all these 4 color energies. So while you might naturally find yourself leading with, say, cool blue, you're made up of all 4 color energies, and you can dial up the other color energies. It just might take a little bit more of a conscious effort to dial up, maybe, in my case, sunshine yellow energy a little bit. So all I want to do now is going through, hopefully everyone should recognize this. This is the incident life cycle taken from NIST 800, and it covers high level the stages of an incident, from preparation, detection and analysis, containment, eradication, recovery, and post-incident activity. And what I want to go through is, in each of these blocks, just kind of call out how you might expect to see certain color energies functioning. So if we go into preparation, sunshine yellow, as I said before, sunshine yellow energies are very creative thinkers. So they can think outside the box. They can think of all the different ways that a system or an organization potentially could get attacked. Whereas you might think a website, you click A, B, and C. They might think, well, actually, what happens if an attacker just goes straight to C? You also have fiery red energy in the preparation phase. If you get threat intelligence, if you get information that you've got 0 logon vulnerabilities or other critical vulnerabilities like that, you need fiery red energy to take that, run with it, and actually get something done about it, whether it's apply a patch, put in a firewall rule, or do something to mitigate whatever the imminent risk is. If we then go on to sort of detection and analysis, you're going to need earth green energy. And this is because as you're analyzing an incident, you've detected something, you're analyzing it, you're going to have to go and speak to people. And with earth green energy being the warm, sort of compassionate type of energy, you're more likely to get people to open up to you and actually say, yeah, I clicked on that phishing email, or yeah, I went and done this bad thing. Whereas if you try and just go in with a big stick, they're going to clam up and you're not going to get any information. Sort of energy, and very, very useful in this stage. And then cool blue energy, the analytical side, logical side. You've got analysis, you need to go from A to Z and understand what actually happened, what's gone on, what's the risk to the company. Then you can move on to containment, eradication, and recovery. And again, fiery red energy. If you've got, say, ransomware running through your organization, it's worming its way all the way around, you're going to need to take decisive action to stop it. You don't need to understand the full aspect of what's going on. Fiery red energy just gets the job done. And again, earth green energy. You're going to need to be working with people. People are going to be scared that they're going to lose data. They might lose their jobs. This warmth and compassion that comes particularly from earth green energy will help engage that, and also means next time round, because you've been that warm, compassionate type of energy, they're more likely to come and tell you, oh, I think I might have done something silly in the future. And then lastly, in the post-incident activity, again, cool blue, so you can take that logical analysis of the incident, what happened, why did it happen, how can we stop it happening again, but also sunshine yellow energy to kind of think outside the box. Okay, this is how it's designed to work. What if we didn't do something that it was designed to do? How would that work? What could we then do to protect or detect that sort of an attack? So that's kind of just a very quick overview of how you might see these different color energies happening in a security operations kind of environment. Also, hopefully will show you that one person could have one person will have all these color energies, and depending on what they're doing, they can dial up or dial down the different energies to suit whatever they kind of need. So now you know the different color energies, what color energies is associated with what kind of elements, i.e. being cool blue and logical. Now we come on to how do you communicate with those color energies. So if you go to communicate with a cool blue, some of the things to keep in mind are look at different approaches, step out of your comfort zone. Cool blue, they might come up with different ideas. Be willing to think about them, be willing to go, oh, actually, I didn't think of that. And don't go thinking my idea is the only idea and it's the best idea since sliced bread. Cool blue energies, they love to understand what's going on, so they will ask a lot of questions and they will offer alternatives. If you're not prepared to receive those questions and alternatives, doesn't necessarily mean you need to have the answers, but if you're not ready to receive those questions, Cool Blue Energy is basically going to clam up and you're not going to have a decent engagement with Cool Blue Energy. Focus on your logical analysis and give a lot of background information. Comes back to Cool Blue Energy. They like to understand the bigger picture. Even if they're only involved in a small part, they want to know the bigger picture and they want to go in a logical fashion, A, B, C. They don't want to be jumping around because it's just not how Cool Blue Energy sort of works. And lastly, be thorough and be structured in your explanations. Give Cool Blue Energy the plan, the bigger plan, and where they fit into it. With these kind of just 4 high-level bits, hopefully communicating with Cool Blue Energy will be a lot more beneficial and you'll get more of the result that you're hoping for. Moving on to Fiery Red Energy. Fiery Red Energy, they are direct. The Fiery Red Energy is a direct energy. So when you're communicating with Fiery Red, talk openly and be assertive about what you think. If you disagree with Fiery Red Energy, be vocal about it. Obviously be professional, but be vocal about disagreeing with Fiery Red. You'll get a lot more respect from Fiery Red Energy that way. Agree to share control and responsibility. Because Fiery Red Energy is used to doing things and getting things done, they like to be in control. They like to have the responsibility. So if you can, share that control, share that responsibility, and you'll find you get a lot further with a Fiery Red Energy. Be direct and assured with what you're saying. And bear in mind, Fiery Red, going back to their assertive and direct nature, they may forget to ask you for input. So if they do, just pipe up and say, here's my opinion, here's my thoughts. Fiery Red Energy will appreciate that. And lastly, if you can, give Fiery Red Energy independence. If you give them a task to do, let them go away, do the task, and then come back. Don't be peering over their shoulder every 2 seconds, because that just annoys Fiery Red Energy. They like to be independent, like to go away, achieve a goal, and then come back and tell you. Earth Green Energy, as I said before, is more of a people energy. When you're giving your reasoned and analytical approach, remember to balance it with warmth and concern and compassion. It's okay telling them A, B, and C is going to happen, but also explain how does that affect the team? How does it affect people that are involved? That'll get you a lot further with green energy than otherwise. Don't expect an immediate response from green energy. Let them have time for reflection and consideration to go away, think about what you're asking about them, think about what the plan is, and then come back to you, whether that's 5 minutes or 5 days, but just give them that time to allow them to reflect. With being a sort of a more people type of energy, Earth Green Energy will quite often forget about their own needs, or they'll put their own needs second to the team. Be upfront about what you need and what your needs are, and also encourage them to share theirs, because their needs and your needs might be just as valid and just as important as the rest of the team. Don't let them be neglected. And lastly, don't hide away problems. Discuss any potential problems openly and honestly, but big thing to remember is do it in a caring and compassionate way. These kind of tips will get you miles of engagement with Earth Green Energy. And then Sunshine Yellow. Sunshine Yellow, as said, is the very sort of excitable, the very sort of bubbly. When they're communicating with you, when they're interacting with you, you need to respond to their style. If you're sitting there with a stony face, even if you're laughing or smiling on the inside, Sunshine Yellow Energy, they're just going to see your stony face and they're going to then clam up and go, right, you're not interested in what I have to say. I'm just going to stop and stop engaging with you. Show your involvement in their story, show your reactions externally. Allow Sunshine Yellow energies to talk about their feelings and to share theirs and other people's opinions. Let them air what they want to say. Consider what they're saying, even if you don't sort of take it on, if you don't act on it, take on board what they have to say. If you're working with Sunshine Yellow Energy, stay involved and actively show that you're engaged. If you're working on a long-term project, have regular check-ins to say, right, I'm still doing this, here's where I'm up to. Sunshine Yellow will really, really appreciate, Sunshine Yellow Energy will really, really appreciate that. And lastly, Sunshine Yellow Energy, they are great for coming up with all sorts of different opportunities, all sorts of different ideas, but what they do lack is a little bit of discipline in terms of setting an agenda and setting exactly what you're going to do, because they come up with all these brilliant ideas. When working and when communicating with Sunshine Yellow Energies, you just need to remember to give them a gentle nudge and remind them, we've got an agenda, we need to go through it so that you can actually achieve some. Otherwise, you'll have a great time, you'll have great ideas, but you may not actually achieve your objective. What I want to do now is just have a little bit of pause for thought and kind of ask you to think about maybe a conversation or an interaction you've had with a colleague, maybe someone from university or whatever it might be, and just think when you've had maybe a bit more of a difficult interaction, and think, if you think back, could you maybe think of what color energy they might have been leading with, and could you have adapted your communication style to make that interaction, to make that engagement a little bit better. Thank you very much, and I'll take any questions with a reminder that there is not that long to go. Thank you.
Listen, thanks for that. Trying to explain to people, look, I think differently to you is a really, really difficult thing. And it's something we don't actually tell others. Like, I take things in differently to you, or you might not even be aware of it. I think it's really important to kind of try and figure out where you are. It was only a few years ago I did like the Myers-Briggs test and all that kind of stuff. And surprise, surprise, I'm on the extrovert side, and trying to understand how someone who is polar opposite to me interprets me being loud, bombastic, coming up with half-cocked, half-finished ideas and using them as a soundboard, when what they really want is a fully finished product to be delivered to them, or a fully fleshed out idea before they can give feedback. It's really, really important to, in my mind, to deal with that. I know you touched on it, but Dan Con did ask the question, so I just thought I'd ask it again, just in case you had any further thoughts. Is it possible that someone can be a combination of color energies? I know you touched
absolutely
on it.
So you're not just one color energy, you are very much a mix. And what it is there may be one or two color energies that you're more naturally aligned to, but you've got all four color energies inside you, and you can maybe with a little bit more conscious effort dial up any of the other color energies that are not maybe immediately obvious to you. But everyone is a mix of all four colors.
Cool. Another question has come in from Hilnolly asking, do you find these communications often end up being led by the personality type of the person in charge? If a fiery red is in charge, for example, and doesn't care about other energies, it ends up being very one-sided?
So it can do, but then it's a case of that's probably a failing of that person, because if they're not willing to recognize the color energies that other people are leading with and adapt their communication style, then if it's, say, a manager with a team, the team might just shut down and go, yeah, fine, whatever you say, we're just not going to engage with you, we're just going to, you tell us what to do and we'll do the bare minimum type of thing. But if you do adapt your communication style, you hopefully get more of that engagement, and people might offer up more alternatives and go, well, actually, that's a good way, but have you thought about doing it this other way, which may or may not be better?
Yeah, no, it's a really, really valid point. Sean, any thoughts, given that you are a manager of a team? What's your...
Yeah, so firstly, awesome talk. Really great, and I think this touches on a very important topic. Like one of the things I've seen many, and I learned early on in my career, is it's all great being technical on that, but that's only half of the equation. You need the soft skills, and communication is really important in that. And it's something that I as a manager of a team want to help build up my reports. And I don't want to see myself as a manager, but rather a leader trying to guide them the way rather than trying to force down my views, my own thoughts on them. They should decide. I want them to grow. So yeah. And yeah, what do you think we can do to help encourage people be a bit more communicative? I know they're happy just sticking and isolating themselves, especially in a work environment, but in a work environment, that's not always good because you need the communication to understand what they're doing, the problems they're facing, that kind of thing. So what sort of things can we do as either managers or even team members to help with that?
Yeah, that's a really good question and a really hard one. I guess from my point of view, one of the things might be if they are sort of hiding away, they may be leaning with certain color energies, and if you can sort of speak to that color energy, then that might encourage them to go, oh, actually, people do get me, people do understand me. Maybe bring them out of their shell a bit more, and then just over the course of time, be able to, oh, actually, yeah, these people do want to be around me, want to hear my opinion, and then kind of grow that engagement. There is no, in my mind, there's no quick fix for these things. It's all about that building trust, building that relationship, and that's where communication is one of those key bits.
Yeah, fantastic. I totally agree.
No, absolutely fantastic, mate. Just genuinely, if you told me 10, 15 years ago in my career, communication is important, I would have went pish and just not listened, because I was young and arrogant, etc. Like most of us were. But it is when you realize that everybody does do things differently. Sean's just saying there, like he wants to lead and kind of guide the team rather than force it down a route. You know, we do a lot of that in the Beer Farmers, trying to get to a goal, like for example, this conference, trying to get there. And we've got all these ideas floating around and everybody's got a different personality type, and trying to fit us all into a category and understand, right, okay, well, you know, Sean thinks like this, so I'm going to present it to him in that way so that he understands what I'm saying. Not that he's stupid or anything, it's just more, I know that if I give him a stream of consciousness, he's just going to look at it and go, I don't understand this. Similarly, the reverse is true. Like, I don't mind a stream of consciousness, but don't expect me to come up with a fully fledged answer straight away, or I might change my mind in 20 minutes or anything like that. I think communication is just, you hit the nail on the head, and it kind of links back to the Twitter stuff that we were talking about. You know, people are just really super quick to judge and super quick to not take things, you know, go, hey, what context is this person actually giving here? Or, you know, is there context I'm missing? Or, you know, it's text-based communication. So I guess the final question would be, how does all this stuff impact? Face-to-face is one thing. How does it change when it's text-based communication? Is there another level to that, or do you just need to take a breather before you go, okay, I'll answer this or ask for clarification?
I think it's you do obviously need to take a breather with written communication. There is, and again, it's kind of like I say, this is a 20-minute sort of talk about it. In the workshops, it was several days worth, and some of the bits was talking about like written communication. You can learn to almost, and Twitter might be a bit hard to do, but like in longer form emails and that, you can learn to pick up the cues of what sort of color energy is the person writing with, and then again, it's just then about addressing that color energy so that you go into whatever mindset they're in or whatever color energy they're currently leading with, for them to take on board what you're saying more easily, and then, like I say, just to have that better engagement. So it is possible. That might be something for another talk, maybe the written communication side.
No, sounds great. Listen, thanks very much, Sean. I think that's. You get anything further to ask?
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome talk.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thanks, everyone.